Welcome back to Let's Play Katawa Shoujo. Keep it brief here because I don't tend to talk about politics so much, but it's like bugging the shit out of me a bit. It's the EU referendum. I voted the second time in my life, and for the second time in my life I realized my vote is meaningless if it's not part of the majority. I voted Remain, but the majority, which is like 51%, so it doesn't really feel like there's a big majority, but still it won, I guess. Voted Leave, so yeah. I feel like Stan Marsh in South Park in that one episode. It's just like, you've been given the right to choose between a douche and a turd. And like at the end of the episode, I think like the one he voted for didn't win anyway, so he's like, it was completely pointless. It's just like, yeah. Well, whatever. Politicians, politics, all that. They fuck it up regardless, whether it's Leave or Remain, whatever happens. I imagine it's just going to be more bullshit. Because, well, politicians have a habit of fucking things up. Anyways, enough talk about politics, as I like to call it. Where were we in the plot? What are you doing? Talking about politics, or as I call it, politics or something, I don't know. It really is. It's like, I see politics as more of who can talk the most shit and get away with it. It's like, who can make the most outrageous claims and get away with it? Who can make the most promises and get people to believe them and all that. I'm overly suspicious when a politician promises too much, because it's like, dude, man, you're not even in the position of power to do these things right now, and you're making these big promises. Just boggles my mind. But anyways, I try to strike a balance between being quiet enough to not draw attention to myself, but loud enough to draw hers. Yeah, that's good. That's gonna bug me for the next few days. It's just like, when I first saw the result, I was just like, son of a, all angry and all that. And then it was like, no, keep calm, man, keep calm. Just like, whatever happens, happens. If shit happens, it ain't my fault. I didn't vote that. Just like, I don't know, man. It'll probably in a week's time, it'll just be like, I don't even give a shit anymore. Just like, I don't know. What are you doing, He-chan? Why are you talking about politics? That has no place here. Don't you know that politics is like religion in that it always has controversy? Indeed it does. That's how I view it. Whether you talk about politics or religion, it's like, those are two subjects where it's just like going into a minefield, so I'll stop there, I guess. Panic shoots through me as Misha starts talking at her normal volume. And I sputter out a hasty reply, still keep my voice down despite the fact that she just blew any hope of being discreet I may have had. I'm copying down that stuff. What are you doing? Why so loud? Really? But it's all in the book. That's why no one else is copying it down. I know, but why are you so loud? Why are you so quiet, He-chan? It's hard to hear you. I look around to see if anyone is noticing our conversation, and it's pretty obvious that everyone has, even the teacher. I'm not sure if my voice is really loud, but I don't feel that my voice is very loud, and if it is loud in any way, which I doubt it, it's probably because of my family being so damn loud that I see myself as very quiet when I speak. It's like, I don't know, man. It's like I've said with I have it whenever I shout or anything like that, because I rarely do, it carries more weight, because I don't do that often, while some people are just, have no volume control whatsoever. My dad is definitely one of them. Shizune smiles coyly, and I start to wonder if Misha is doing this because she told her to. Is it because of what happened between her and Lily earlier? That is what I get for trying to be reasonable, for trying to take the middle path. Shizune is way too prideful, although by now I should know to expect that kind of behavior from her. Why are you doing this? Huh? Misha is totally oblivious to the awkward stare the teacher is giving both of us, while trying to balance her textbook on her finger. For a brief second it looks as if things could get ugly. The teacher simply looks away, as if it's not worth the trouble. I guess it's a good thing, and I slump back in my seat in relief. The rest of the day passes by uneventfully, and this time I'm able to appreciate that it does. When the bell rings, I'm not in a hurry, so I stay for a while, reviewing what we covered in class today. I prefer to leave last anyway, so I don't have to deal with crowding in the hallways. I know Shizune and Misha have also stayed behind, talking to someone from another class. Shizune is signing so fast that her hands make noises like swords cutting through the air. Misha is trying desperately to keep up, but it's clear she can barely manage to even understand her. I put my head down. Whatever they're discussing, it looks like serious business. Probably way over my head. Not just that, but Shizune also seems angry, although it could just be her normal severity and making it appear so. It's really. Shizune signs to the point where her wrists crackle and Misha struggles to spit it out in word form. Sometimes she trips over herself like she's dealing with tongue twisters, and then on top of that she has to sign back anything the other girl says. Seems like a rough job. Misha looks tired, like she's about to faint. Luckily for her, their business is soon finished and the girls sit down on their seats again. I'm so tired. She's hanging her head limply on her desk, looking exhausted. Festival preparations must be tough for you. Indeed, the people in this school seem to be taking the festival very seriously. Whenever I see people idling around before and after classes, they're always talking about their plans for it. You know, what? In all the other routes so far, hasn't it? Except for when we're at Candy's route. Have all the other routes been where he, ends up pissing off Shizune so that he sees this and just oh, this is an opportunity to make up with them again. But not this time around, because he didn't end up pissing them off. It's kind of neat to see everyone being so enthusiastic about it. I'm probably the only one who doesn't have something to do. Shizune starts signing at me, and Misha perks up, looking at her hands with slightly unfocused eyes. She signs with harsh, heavy, dramatic strokes. Misha translates her signing into speech for me. She does it so well, it's almost like Shizune is actually speaking, transmitting her thoughts directly through Misha. Well, we're in the student council, you know, we're pretty busy. So, you mean? Sarcasm? Huh? The thought of Shizune's actions make me think she is speaking with disdain, but Misha interprets it normally, replacing whatever intent may have been there with her own chipper twist on things. It's still disorientating. I don't think I'll ever get used to it. Never mind. How can I forget with you two trying to get me to join at least twice a day? But Hichan could... some could say the work is too much. It'd be nice if students were to show a little more support for their leadership, some appreciation for the ones who are working so hard to make it all possible. Maybe, for example, a little help. That's asking too much, is it? Yep, help would be appreciated from students like you. You know, I think the real reason why they don't support the student council much is because of how strict Shizune is. Just like, oh man, she's just like, work, all work and no play. Well, not necessarily for her, but she has a strict kind of personality where it'd be like, you gotta do this, exact and on time. I will not take so much as a second's delay. You do this shit legitimately. But it never sounds like that because Misha, obviously, wouldn't be able to say it in the correct tone that she would. If students would show their dedication and school spirit and offer some help, well, I don't exactly mean it. But I wouldn't necessarily refuse it. So it would be nice if someone would. Oh, hello. It's Hanako. Remember that drawing? That was a nice drawing, wasn't it? It's still right next to me. It's quite nice. Well, it's currently somewhat buried by Japanese sheets, my remote control for the TV, hairbrush. But it's there. Look over his shoulder and see Hanako appearing timidly into the classroom, most of her body hidden behind the door. You know, that's another thing I like the Japanese course I've been doing. I cleared one phase of it. I'm not even sure how to call it really. It's like an online kind of one, and I passed it. And right at the end, it's like freaking telling the time in Japanese is a pain in the ass, especially is they have this little game thing where you gotta like click on the right freaking clock showing the time, and within a set amount of time as well. It was ridiculous, because like you gotta like think, it's like, okay, there's 12 different hours here essentially going on, and different like times, like 5 past, 10 past, quarter past, 20 past, 25 past, and so on and so on, but it's in Japanese, so it's even more confusing. It's just like, you've got to freaking locate the clock, even if you know what it is. You've got to locate the right clock on the screen and click on it as quickly as damn possible. It's like, this is the only one I did bad at. Then the final one was like a quiz. Well, it wasn't really a quiz, it was kind of a test thing with the same kind of mini game thing going on with it, where they like say the word or whatever, or the phrase, and you've got to click on the right image, and you've got to keep doing that. And when they threw in the freaking time on that as well, I was like, no, because they added everything. From like saying so much as Ohio for good morning, for like Hyro color, which I think is grey, I think it was. I'm just trying to think of examples on top of my head. It just essentially included like various things like phrases, countries, countries, clothing, food, and time, numbers. What was the other one? Body, and maybe there was another one that I can't quite think off the top of my head. But essentially they throw all that into it on the last one. I was like, everything was easy except for telling the time. It throws me off every time. How fitting to say that then, isn't it? What was I even talking about? It's because of that, wasn't it? Yeah. Freaking, how the hell did I go from like saying, the drawing's right next to me right now, and then end up talking about freaking course? That's how I tend to be, isn't it? Just ramble on and on and on and on. And to ramble on further, one of the points I brought that up was when I went to the college to do that. It was hell, man. I had to catch the bus. My hay fever was hell that day. In fact, it's hell anytime I go outside nowadays. I can't even remember the last time my hay fever was this bad. It sucks. But anyway, let's get back to the plot. I look over my shoulder and see Hanako peering timidly into the classroom, with her body hidden behind the door. Hey, playing delinquent again! Hanako blushes at Misha's straightforward jab, even if it was only in jest. Shizune, this is why I don't hate your character, but I don't really like your character all that much, because you come across as kind of a bitch. I mean, it's just like, I've seen more character development in Lily and Hanako, so I've see them as likable characters to me. But with Shizune, she's always kind of like strict and kind of a bitch to most people. So, not nearly as likable. Shizune stares at her approvingly, causing Hanako to look down and start backing away to the point where only her fingers can be seen wrapped nervously around the edge of the door. Maybe she has shown her dislike of Hanako by association of her dislike of Lily. Although, maybe, like, going through Shizune's route, maybe we'll know why she's being a bitch, or maybe realize that we've been misinterpreting this whole time. Except for with Lily, because clearly there is a bit more to it than just a misunderstanding. It appears so, and Hanako probably knows it as well. They seem to have momentarily forgotten about trying to get me to stay for the rest of the day. What is it, Hanako? That's Lily being here. Sorry, Sano is not here. She came by in the morning, though. Hanako keeps looking uneasily at Shizune, who stares back at her with her usual studying gaze. What is she trying to do? Shizune, have you not heard that it is rude to stare? Of course, I mean, you have a strict personality. Surely you'd know. Of course, Shizune isn't going to look away, and she's intimidating enough as it is, so I can only imagine how terrified Hanako would be. You know, I've said it before, but with me, I have a habit of just, like, spacing out a lot. So like sometimes like if I'm looking at someone, usually I'm not really, you know, just like focused on them, just staring at them. I'm just kind of staring into space usually, if that ever happens. Because honestly, it's like when I'm in a room with a lot of people and there's people everywhere I look, I tend to just look at the ground because nobody is there, you know, unless someone is there. They just like the ceiling. If someone's on the ceiling, just like, what the fuck? I just like, okay, eyes closed, just like, don't look at anyone because they'll be like, what the fuck are you looking at? That's social anxiety. Well, for me it is anyway. Anyway, did I read that? Yeah. It is a little funny though, watching Hanako's reaction to Shizune's normal behavior. This is what happens when two people of two different extremes meet, it seems. Do you know where she is? If she has any sense in her head, she's in her classroom working on the festival project. But who knows where that woman's loitering at? She might be slacking off somewhere. What a useless woman. I mean, seriously, man. Lily's more likable. A likable character, and Shizune constantly slagging her off. It's not really like raising any likable points so far, Shizune. Hanako nods quickly and retreats with haste. Misha, on the other hand, likable character, but that's because she's just kind of goofy so far that we've seen of her. So it really makes me curious to see what will actually like develop with these two characters, because really all we've seen so far is Shizune. Well, we've actually seen a bit of a different side of Shizune technically in Hanako's route, where she actually showed concern about it and kind of felt a bit of guilt as well. I mean, that was different, but for the most part it's kind of just a kind of like strict Shizune and the goofy, lively Misha. So I really do wonder how it'll develop. But anyway, Hanako nods quickly and retreats with haste, obviously to avoid any further contact with Shizune. Unfortunately, this turns their attention fully back to me. But Hichan's not useless, right? He said so himself. Ha ha ha! I can see where this is going, and I do not want any part of it. Not after that experience yesterday. Well, good luck with your preparations. I start packing my bag, ready to make a break for the exit. Unfortunately, I'm all the way on the other side of the room. No, actually, don't they do this regardless of what choice you make? I think. I'm not sure. Because, well, when it came to their characters' interaction, usually would skip through in half the other routes that we've gone through so far. The short distance to the doorway seems like a vast no man's land to me now. Shizune and Misha both start maneuvering slowly in front of me, cutting off my route of escape in an unsettling, cautious way that makes me think of the ship combat. I think Shichan is saying that you should help us, Hichan. Gee, I wouldn't know. She's so subtle. But that's the intent, so please. I can't keep up. We have to actually build stalls for the festival. Almost all of them all by ourselves. Can you believe that? Hammering boards together over and over again for hours. It's really hard. I'm so used to it. I was doing swinging motions in class and I didn't even know it. She bangs her desk a few times, imitating hammer blows. It'd be funny if she was like, ow! Shit, that hurt actually. It's so repetitive, I can't stand it. It's like level grinding RPGs. Why am I getting deja vu? Did I make that same joke at one point through this? I don't know, man, but that feels like I've made that exact joke before in this scene, possibly. But you know, it really is repetitive. I can't stand it, and yes, I actually have all the boards on top of each other. It was just a stack of boards all nailed together, and then I had to take it apart and do it all over again. And I got yelled at and laughed at. So, she clamps her hand down on my shoulder and grins, quickly running her tongue across her teeth mischievously. Do you have any plans for the day, Hichan? I just had a thought. Remember when this LP started? And it was starting to set in, it was like, I've got to voice act all these characters. It wouldn't make sense to LP a visual novel if I'm not going to read anything, isn't it? And this visual novel has no voice acting, so I have to voice every character. And I remember, like, with Misha, who's just like, Oh man, I have no idea what type of voice to give her. It's just like, it's gotta be something lively, but I don't know. And now it's become, like, the easiest voice for me to do. It's like the female version of the Echo the Dolphin voice actor. It's kinda weird. Do you have any plans for today, Hee-chan? I wonder if you do. Sure, I have plans. Really? You're going to help us, right? I notice her hands are moving constantly. She's signing everything we both say so that Shizune can understand. Shizune is being somewhat quiet today. She's... what? Well... the reason that made it sound like in a literal sense. Like, not like she's like, you know, actually signing and all that. But more in, she's awfully quiet. Yeah, she's deaf, of course. But that's obviously not what he means. She's still angry? Well, probably at least a bit. I can see it in her eyes. But this could also just be another way of trying to guilt me into lending her a hand. I have to find a way out of this. Hey, I should go now into the library, you know, homework. I should get going, shouldn't I? I have to be diligent because I'm a new student and all, so I have to make a good first impression, right? Yeah. See you later then. I turned to bolt for the door, but Shizune is blocking my path. Her arms crossed over her chest and a stern expression on her face. Oh yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Well, I was thinking of when I was like, you know, Shizune comes across as strict. Stern was another word that came to my mind. And you know what? I'm gonna do another, will it even count as a Photoshop if I'm not actually using Photoshop to do the picture editing itself, because I don't have Photoshop? But whatever. I'm gonna take this face, and I'm going to put it on that freaking image of Gandalf when he's like, "You shall not pass!" So that's a bit for editing. Just like I don't know how that will look, but I'll give it a try because really, I could have used the same face in that freaking Conductor one from Level 3 as well. It's just like that could inspire like, no, it probably wouldn't inspire much meme-wise, would it? Just like, oh yes, these, it'll just like, okay, Shizune's stern expression on various different pictures of people or something, I don't even know, whatever. If I were to actually create memes, I wouldn't be very good at it. Or maybe I would be, but I can't be asked to make them. I wouldn't even see really a reason to. I make videos, and that's it, I suppose, there. And I can just add it if I'm going to make I don't even know. She wags a finger tauntingly and begins signing to Misha with the manner of a squad leader, giving directions to his fellow soldiers. No, like, with memes, like, a lot of them get overused on the internet. I mean, everything does. Like, you know that, I mean, it's a joke rather than a meme, but usually memes tend to be jokes, usually, anyway. But one I've seen so many times on YouTube comment sections of different videos, not my own though, but other people's, is the constant joke where it's like, last time I was here this early, blah blah blah. Or, let me think of a joke, blah blah blah. You're overusing that format a bit, isn't it? I mean, like, it hasn't even been long since the EU referendum thing, I can't pronounce. And I've already seen, like, on various videos, like, comments saying, last time I was here this early, Britain was still in the EU, or the UK was still in the EU. Stuff like that. It's like, we technically still are in the EU. I mean, it's just been voted. That's it. It's still got a ways to go for that, you know. But still, overused joke. But there is one, like, meme page that, like, I really like on Facebook is classical art memes. It's kind of consistent with amusing kind of memes with, like, arts from, like, various... It isn't... I don't even know how to describe it. It's just random, so of course I like it. But anyway, why am I even rambling on about memes? Oh yeah, because I was going to make that image, yes. That happens so many times. I ramble and then I forget what I'm rambling about and when it started. But anyway, she wags her finger tauntingly and begins signing the Misha with a... Well, I've already read that. It didn't seem like you were in any rush to get the library, Hee-chan. I mean, you were rambling and rambling and rambling, so you were clearly in no rush to get away. That's right, Hee-chan. It does seem like you was probably going to slack off for the rest of the day. You're surrounded. Let's go to the student council room. Oh yeah, I remember now. That's what speaking of classical art memes. There's like, I'd imagine how weird it would be if they posted an image with Shizune's face on a classical art painting. Just like, what? She lets out a chuckle and then breaks into laughter. I'm sorry, Hee-chan, I feel bad, but this works out for everyone, right? That's right, Hee-chan. Yes, that's a good point too. Yes, this is beneficial to everyone. It solves all our problems. Yeah, I also thought he'd be more appreciative of our efforts. So, why is it that every time I stumble over my lines, particularly when it's Misha, I always go as if just like it makes it sound like a rewind or something. Okay, redo it. They pull themselves closer as if they're about to pounce. Hey guys, chew on what isn't very fair, is it? She keeps looking forward, impassive, then gives a sinister smile. That's a sinister smile. Come on, we have a lot of work to do. Let's go to the student council room. Gee, I don't know. Misha laughs. Deja vu? Yes, actually. When I made that freaking RPG joke, it was deja vu, but that was quite a while back now, a few minutes ago, you see. She chuckles before letting out an old laugh. You know my horoscope. I did it again. That's deja vu. My horoscope said it'd be a good day for me today. Well, it's not really deja vu, but whatever. And now that you're going to help, Shizune signs quickly to her. Right, I mean, now that you've decided to help us completely of your own free will, I'll be able to take it easy. Lucky, huh? I opened my mouth to say something, but then realized there's no point. I refocus on trying to think of a way out of this. No, their actions are clearly deliberate. There's no sense in attempting to reason with them. You can't reason with mad men. Or mad women. Whatever. I frown, and they don't even notice my discontent, further proving my suspicions. You know, honestly, if he was able to actually avoid them all the time, like whenever they do that, I think Shizune would see it as a game and perhaps even be a bit impressed. They seem pretty relaxed now. I guess they think they've already won, so they're letting their guard down. That's kind of arrogant. They pass forward in front of me as they move through the doorway. And I stealthily walk backwards back into the classroom as I step into the hallway, turning towards the stairwell. Well, Hisao, that's where you made your big mistake, by going back into the classroom, rather than, you know, perhaps going to a different location instead of, you know, be potentially and inevitably being cornered again. I let out a sigh of relief and quickly packed the rest of my stuff so I can make my escape. I mean, he could have been like, screw my stuff, I'll come back for that later, this is more important. The classroom door slammed shut. That wasn't very nice there. You really got us good though, didn't he, Shi-chan? Right. What was that about? I thought you said you'd help us. And then you bailed on us. And you thought you could get away with, didn't you? The indignant expression vanishes and she begins to laugh hysterically, coming down on the afternoon. I do that even without, you know, reading Misha's lines. Can you imagine, say I was like a news reporter or something, I'm just reading the news out and I stumble over my lines and it's like, it's like, what the fuck? Only after the aggravated look from Shizune.
Oh, yeah, you thought you could get away with it, but a criminal always returns to the scene of the crime.
I didn't even manage to leave the classroom in the first place. No, wait, I didn't even agree to help in the first place.
Not very bright, are you, criminal? Think you can just shrink your duties like that? How low, He-chan?
It sounded like I said hello, He-chan there. But with a bit of an accent, or maybe... Oh, actually, hello, isn't that hello in a different language? I forget what language though, but I'm pretty sure. Whatever. I'm a criminal, or what did I do? What's the charge? What am I guilty of? Don't I get a lawyer? Damn it! I know my rights!
That's for the courts to decide, criminal. I don't think we have to tell you that. Besides, you're the criminal here. You know what you did.
Have you ever read The Trial by Kafka?
No, what's that, He-chan? What does that have to do with this?
I read it a few months ago. It's about these people who run a kangaroo court on a guy who just wants to live his life. They refuse to leave him alone and he can't fight the power.
He-chan, what does this have to do with anything? Hey, what does that mean?
She turned back to me after signing back and forth for a lengthy amount of time.
You know, we're both a little disappointed in you. You let us down, Hisao. Drop the ball. Left us hanging and out in the cold. Is that any way to treat a person? To run away from your responsibilities? To abandon your comrades? We think you owe it to us,
again,
to honor your commitment.
What? But I didn't commit to anything. My breathing catches in my throat and I momentarily start choking.
That's not true, He-chan. You said you're not useless. You definitely said it. Yes, definitely. We are calling you on those words now. You better show you are not a useless guy. Your honor will be sold forever if you try to get out of this. So for the rest of the day, we're going to hang out together, just the three of us, and work hard. You can't fool us. You should be happy you're doing your school a great service. That's not what your school can do for you, but what you can do for your school.
How depressing.
Cheer up, He-chan.
She slaps me hard across the back with enough strength to knock the air out of my lungs. I gasp to breathe. Oh, of how many freaking lines I've been reading of Misha's, I wouldn't be surprised if I accidentally speak in that voice. Somebody just like, I don't even know how I would actually manage to make that kind of mistake. Just like talking to someone and just like, hey, oh sorry, wrong voice. That wouldn't make sense.
Besides, aren't you happy you get to spend the day with two cute girls?
I guess they're right. I did blurt those words out. Except in my feet, I followed them to the student council room.